Hello and a very warm welcome to today's brand new episode of Simply Electric, where we're taking a closer look at the Polestar 4 in its RWD long-range version. We've already presented it to you in a thorough classic review, including a detailed driving report. In case you might have missed the video, I'll gladly link it again in the video description below, because we're aiming to build on that a bit with the Polestar 4 in today's video. We'll check its consumption at 100, 120, 140 and 160 kilometers per hour on the highway. We'll drive a good stretch through the countryside and also through a city, and of course we want to measure the out-of-town consumption using the onboard computer as well as the urban consumption. We've got a solid starting point today with around 20 to 22 degrees and sunshine, and we're aiming to do the charging check from 10 to 80%. Polestar is part of the Giddy platform, but unlike other vehicles like Smart or Sigri, it doesn't have an 800 volt system installed, it's only 400 volts. And now let's take a look and see whether 10 to 80% in under 30 minutes with a maximum of 200 kilowatts can perform here as well. You're watching a jam-packed, exciting video, and I'd say check again if you're already a part of the electric community here. We'd really appreciate it if you'd support us with your subscription. It's free for you, but a huge help for us to grow this channel a bit more. Here we go with the brand new Polestar 4, including the consumption test and a charging check. We've set off toward the highway. A 20, our test route, where we always head north and typically determine the consumption values with you via the onboard computer at average driving speeds, ensuring we deliver the most precise, accurate and dependable results possible for you to analyze. Yes, let's go over the starting conditions. Right now we've got 23 degrees here in Neustrelitz. Wonderful weather, a bit overcast, a little cloudy, as a pilot in an airplane would say, but ideal conditions to take the Polestar 4 out and figure it out. And it's powered by an electric motor on the rear axle, producing 200 kilowatts, which translates to 272 horsepower and 343 newton meters of torque. It accelerates from 0 to 100 in 7.4 seconds, reaching a top speed of 180 kilometers per hour. We'll definitely make sure to test that out with you later on, just as soon as the traffic allows us to do so safely. Yes, Stefan has taken a look at the tire dimensions, which is always important before we do that. 100 kilowatt hour battery, 94 kilowatt hours usable, weighs 2.3 tons. Stefan, what wheels are we on?
4 wheels, 2 up front.
4 wheels total, 2 front, 2 back, not a 2-wheeler.
And I didn't include the middle emergency wheel in that count. In any case, we've got the dimensions on it, 21 inches, 255/45 to be exact.
Yes, very nice. Summer tires from Michelin Pilot Sport EV, so also a bit naturally EV specific. Optimized. Yes, for the first 20 kilometers or so, we'll now be driving leisurely through the countryside from Neustrelitz to Neubrandenburg. We also have a nice trip odometer displaying 3,933.2 kilometers, an average speed of 41.9 kilometers per hour, and an average energy consumption of 20.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. Now let's reset that, and as we drive up to the town sign of Neubrandenburg, we'll measure the out-of-town consumption together with you along the way. To determine, that means we'll mostly drive at 100, occasionally drop to 70, and then of course through the villages at a proper 50 kilometers per hour. We're nearly arriving in Neubrandenburg. I can already spot the town sign up ahead clearly. Look, Stefan, there it is. And that's reason enough to take a look at the intermediate consumption now. So, we've covered 18.6 kilometers with an energy consumption of 14.1 kilowatt hours per 100. The kilometers driven were achieved at an average speed of 70 kilometers per hour. Now it has dropped to 69.8. Yes, the onboard computer is being reset because we want to measure the in-town consumption here through Neubrandenburg. But the consumption is pretty good, right?
Yes, it's quite comfortable for land travel.
And 70 kilometers per hour is a solid speed. It's not just eco-friendly cruising around here. So it's clear the Pulsar manages fuel consumption quite effectively, especially in these initial few meters. We've now left Neubrandenburg behind and have successfully covered a total distance of 7.5 kilometers, maintaining a steady average speed of 45.3 kilometers per hour while achieving an impressive and efficient consumption rate of 9.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. That's a good figure, right?
Das ist ordentlich hier so für
They'll need for Städteschauffeur.
If you calculate that based on 94 kilowatt hours of usable battery capacity, that's almost 1,000 kilometers.
You can easily cover 100 kilometers in the city with that. It's really cool, yeah, no doubt about it.
And if you break it down, say the average commuter drives about 40 kilometers a day, then you could easily go 22 days without needing to charge the Polestar 4. It's really impressive and makes it super convenient for everyday use. And that would essentially mean charging just once a month.
But you must do it.
In today's world, there's really almost no excuse left for lamppost parkers or for individuals who don't have home charging stations available to them. Because then you just go shopping once a month, charge up to 200 kilowatts in half an hour, and then you're all set for what feels like 15 work days with the Polestar. Absolutely no hassle at all.
All relaxed.
So that's really a decent figure. You mustn't forget we've got a vehicle length of 4.84 meters here. 2.3 tons unladen weight. With the two of us heavyweights and camera equipment, we're easily at 2.5 tons, I'd estimate.
Yeah, just barely.
And therefore, he's actually performing quite well for a larger electric vehicle in a cross-utility design, all things considered and carefully evaluated. So I'm really quite surprised. We've arrived on the A20 highway, now heading northbound, starting from Neubrandenburg, and it's been smooth sailing so far. At the moment, we're driving towards Greifswald-Stralsund, and I've set the pilot assist in the Polestar 4 to maintain a constant 100 kilometers per hour. And now, together with all of you, we'll reset the onboard computer and carefully monitor at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour. What the actual fuel or energy consumption ultimately ends up being in this specific case here. So at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour according to the speedometer. Stefan, any guess?
I'd say it's probably less than 17, to be honest.
Then let's see if Stefan's tip turns out to be accurate. While we wait for the first value to come in, we naturally want to make the most of our time together and take a closer look at some of the standout, innovative and impressive features here in the Polestar 4. We always begin chronologically with the assistance systems. We've got semi-autonomous features integrated here, specifically designed to assist and enhance our driving experience, such as the lane keeping assist combined with a steering assist, which ensures that the Polestar 4 stays consistently centered in its lane, delivering a smooth, secure, and effortlessly stress-free driving experience. Unfortunately, we don't have capacitive controls here. That means I have to give the steering wheel a proper shake to make it recognize that I'm awake, and quite firmly, not just lightly or casually, which can be a bit inconvenient, which is likely a bit awkward for passengers. So I'd prefer something like, I'd have wished for capacitive controls where you just hold 3 fingers on the steering wheel and the car instantly knows, hey, Ollie's fully focused and alert now. Adaptive cruise control is also part of the package, but it lacks a solution that functions adaptively for me, and it doesn't offer a predictive approach either. Predictive would mean foresighted, so the car knows that 100 kilometers per hour is coming up, I need to adjust the speed, or 80 or 70 in the construction zone, either through the camera system or of course via navigation data, particularly in areas with fixed speed limits in place. We've observed that this doesn't always work flawlessly or even predictively, and the adaptive approach through traffic sign recognition also doesn't consistently perform well. On top of that, the traffic sign recognition system itself still has a few areas that need improvement. That means you have to use this arrow key, so to speak, to always manually transfer the updated speed value from the speed limit display into the adaptive, take it over in the cruise control. I find it a bit 2025 and kind of a shame in this price range.
Yeah, just a bit cumbersome.
Exactly. Let's see if it has a lane change assist. So here we are now, Dot. Yeah, it's not doing it automatically. It basically just gives the approval so that we can then make the lane change. Once we've completed the maneuver, we're back in the new lane with the steering and lane keeping assist system active again. But now it partly autonomously supports us and handles the lane change on its own. It doesn't do that. On the contrary, it would actually correct itself here once more instead, you know? Yes, other systems are further ahead in that regard. I know you don't always like it when I say this, but the Volkswagen Group, BMW and Mercedes, well, they can handle all of that. They can perform semi-autonomous lane changes by simply holding the capacitive steering wheel, and they do it fully automatically, and now even very, very quickly. BMW takes it a step further in the i5 and i7, offering a highway assistant where I can essentially cross my hands, not needing to hold the steering wheel, but simply maintaining eye contact with an infrared camera. So it can see that I'm attentive and looking ahead. If I glance into the left or right side mirror, it would even semi-autonomously. Then initiate the lane change as long as I stay focused. By the way, Ford also offers it with Blue Cruise, reaching speeds of up to 130 kilometers per hour. Both systems we've already shown you here on the channel, and they've been around for a while. So that I would simply wish, dear friends of Polestar, you have the technology, you have the systems on board, including various cameras, radars, and so on. Please program the software in such a way that we are at least supported adaptively and ideally, of course, predictively, so that we are even better assisted in a semi-autonomous driving mode throughout. If it doesn't work as well on the country road as it did in the review and the driving report, I can understand that, but here on the highway, well, it is certainly a bit better. Still not on par with the leaders, right, Stefan?
Sadly not, no.
And unfortunately, we have to be honest, but what isn't there now can always be integrated into the Polestar through software updates, such as over the air, and effectively added at a later point in time as needed. We determined the initial consumption at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour displayed on the speedometer. That corresponds to 96.8 kilometers per hour here in the onboard computer. The distance covered is 21.4 kilometers, and the average consumption is 17.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. Stefan, well, close but no cigar, as they always say so nicely, but I find it commendable that you were willing to take that risk after all. You could have just said under 20.
Yeah, come on, no.
I definitely set the adaptive cruise control to maintain a steady speed of 120 kilometers per hour for the entire duration of the trip ahead. Because of course we want to proceed directly to the next consumption value at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour. The onboard computer has been reset, so now we'll carefully observe how it performs over the next 20 kilometers. How the consumption of the Polestar 4 develops. Alongside efficient route planning, charging planning is naturally a vital and absolutely essential aspect of an ambitious electric car by 2025. I know some of you say, hey, there are so many charging stations nowadays, I'd rather pick out my own preferred charging spots along the route and prefer not to rely on the car's planning at all. But many, especially those new to electric mobility, want it to be as simple as possible. And Polestar has kept things straightforward in the 4 by integrating the Google Automotive or Android Automotive OS, which features Google Maps and seamless charging planning capabilities. Here's how the system actually functions. Let's try it. Naturally in 2025 style with voice, right?
Best way, yeah.
Hey Google, period. Oh, please navigate us to Munich towards Viktualien Markt 1.
Please set up the navigation to guide us directly to the Viktualien Markt situated in Munich.
It works very smoothly, very fluidly, naturally, including the corresponding features and adjustments for optimal performance.
The course of the road from 80 to 4 kilometers?
He's doing it very, very neatly. That means you can see it here, Oberkrämer Himmelkron. And then after 2 charging stops, we finally reached Munich. You always arrive nicely with 12 or 13% remaining range. That's also a good story. And of course, you also have the option to utilize a filter function. To control certain things accordingly. That's definitely a great feature to have, making it even more convenient and user-friendly. We're turning off the navigation now, and we need to drive past this truck really quickly here. Yeah, that's the nice thing about the adaptive cruise control. It just kicks us out completely here when we change lanes using the turn signal, which is pretty straightforward and convenient for situations like this. Well, like I said, the adaptive system just isn't my best friend. Now I'm twitching again, even though I've signaled to change lanes. So somehow things aren't running entirely smoothly here. Yeah, when you navigate to the charging station section, you've got filtering options available, which allows you to easily select the charging speed that best fits your needs. That might also be important since the car can charge up to 200 kilowatt at its peak capacity. You have the option to essentially pre-select your payment method beforehand. It's quite straightforward and easy to manage it through Polestar Charge. You can also charge at a reduced rate with some providers, or you simply choose your favorite provider where you might have a subscription to charge at a discount. This would also be taken into account here, just as you can select the plugs beforehand and of course specify that the charging station should already be open when it is planned, or when you choose it. That makes perfect sense.
Sehr
I'm actually
hilfreich.
wondering why it's not permanently enabled by default. At least that's how I would personally see it working. But you definitely have various filtering options available right now. What I haven't managed to locate just yet is the specific feature that allows me to set a desired percentage state of charge for when I arrive at the charging station or the final destination. That might actually be quite a useful addition to consider. Many providers do already offer that as an extra feature. I find it practical too. Sometimes I drive to Leipzig for meetings but avoid charging there as I might not have the option to on-site. But I want to have enough energy to get back, so that I can then, for example, charge at Ionity or EMBW or Allego again. And so I can naturally manage that quite nicely by using the percentage value as a guide. Just as a suggestion for the future, here's something to consider. We have some bad news, but we're being upfront because on our route, there was first a temporary construction site and now a customs control. That means our value, look Stefan, it's completely wrecked at this point. So we'll reset the onboard computer one more time and aim to maintain an average speed of approximately 120 kilometers per hour for the remainder of the journey ahead. And not with the pilot assist, because it's now unexpectedly and completely unavailable to us.
Wild, right?
Only Polestar knows why it suddenly stopped working altogether. I'm not sure if a dead fly is blocking one of the sensors or something like that, honestly speaking. And to make matters worse, before that we obviously took a curve where it basically didn't take the distance into the curve, so to speak, towards the car in front, but rather through the curve towards the car on the right. That was also a pretty nice little attempt to shake us up once again, to be fair and honest.
Driver education.
This pilot enhanced assist here definitely still has, I think, a bit of room for improvement, especially in terms of its overall functionality and performance. All right, we're going to try again now, aiming for 20 kilometers, averaging 120 kilometers per hour with my feel on the right accelerator pedal. That's of course highly trained because we also have some vehicles that at higher speeds can no longer maintain the desired pace consistently and reliably with the autopilot or cruise control systems. Pomatum, so that I have naturally sensitized my right foot accordingly after 32 years of having a driver's license. Fast. And yes, let's take a closer look and see what kind of fuel consumption we end up with at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour.
Yes, we would be back to that point then.
It's really not that easy to keep it steady at 120 with your foot here.
It's exhausting, yeah.
I don't know either. I mean, it's really annoying when a distance control, cruise control just doesn't work. Yes, let's take a look at the consumption. We've driven 20.8 kilometers at 120 kilometers per hour on the speedometer, which translates to 117 kilometers per hour on the onboard computer, and we have an average consumption of 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. I'm going to give it a bit of power now, and we'll accelerate up to 140 kilometers per hour, reset the onboard computer together, and then measure the next 20 kilometers of driving. How the consumption develops. I believe a good electric car should always include a solid sound system, don't you think? Oh yes, it doesn't always have to be some specific brand or provider, but a truly unique and immersive sound experience should definitely come through, right? Especially when you're on long-haul trips, traveling frequently, you truly want to be fully immersed and deeply captivated by exceptional sound quality and top-tier music experiences. And to ensure you're treated to some truly fantastic music, our new producer, the incredible Jens, who's been part of the team since June 1st, has thoughtfully crafted a unique and special song just for us all. It's called Simply Electric. And it's naturally the perfect track to fully experience and test out the impressive Harman Kardon sound system in the Polestar 4 with exceptional clarity. And yeah, now you're finally getting to hear the song for the very first time, so to speak, right after the short. Yeah, that definitely whets the appetite for even more, doesn't it, Stefan?
Absolutely, yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yes, so if you're interested in the song, you'll find the full version available in the short section. I'll also gladly add it to the video description for you. If you enjoy listening to Simply Electric while you're out and about, feel free to download the track and give it a listen whenever you're in the mood, anytime you like. Think of us and feel free to check if you're already part of the Simply Electric community. I think the song alone and the dear Jens as the new producer, it's definitely worth a subscription and a like, and let's just listen to the beautiful Harman Kardon sound system again, shall we? And here we've got the next value for you. Over a distance of 20.4 kilometers, while maintaining an average speed of 136.9 kilometers per hour, we've calculated the energy consumption rate to be approximately 29.7 kilowatt hours for every 100 kilometers traveled on the road under these specific driving conditions. Nearly 130 kilowatt hours could also be attributed to the weight, size, and design, considering we're dealing with a cross-utility vehicle.
Although I was actually hoping for a bit more, since it does look somewhat aerodynamic.
Yes, definitely, but naturally, because it sits a bit higher, like 10 centimeters, it probably has a bit more frontal area as well. And yes, all of that ultimately ensures, I don't know, the drag coefficient CW value of the poles for it, we can look that up later, that it ends up drawing a slightly higher amount of power from the battery. 0.26 is the CW's value, and 180 kilometers per hour can also go up to 200 here. So I think 200 is a top speed because it climbs up nicely to 205 here. But we're going to take the upcoming exit in about 300 meters right now. That's also, of course, quite practical that the Polestar 4 comes equipped with a dependable braking system on board. And that way, of course, we can effortlessly and safely merge into the right traffic lane here. To then take the exit here. Yeah, 0.26. Yeah, what do we actually think about that, huh? Already a bit. I would have guessed it to be around 0.24 or so, maybe even slightly higher than that.
Yeah, especially since we're familiar with vehicles that have a 0.21 drag coefficient and similar specs, and all the factors that actually create a noticeable difference, even though these are just marginal values, always in the range of 0.0 or so.
So, for the untrained observer, probably not noticeable, since I count us among them as well. Sure, we can kind of figure out a bit, is it flat or does it have a raised structure, something you can observe as well. But honestly, I really thought it would turn out to be much better than this.
It'd be nice, yeah.
And in the end, these values really make a noticeable difference, just like our EQS, which achieved 0.20 with the AMG exterior package and the right wheels. At 140 kilometers per hour, we stayed under 25 kilowatt hours.
Absolutely correct.
So naturally, you can't compare a Polestar 4 with an EQS, which costs more than double the price, obviously, that's clear. But regarding the drag coefficient and its overall impact, thanks, by the way, for allowing me to drive past here. That's also nice of you. Looks like cool older ladies on the scooter. Yeah, so as I said, drag coefficient, frontal area, all of that is consumption relevant. And in the end, we can only show what the Polestar 4 delivers, right? But feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments. Is an efficient car really what matters most to you? Or do you say, man, I'm all about the design because the design of the Polestar 4 is pretty cool?
Yes, I really love the look.
Yes, I'm going to try to push us up to 160 kilometers per hour right now. Let's see how it feels, everyone. We've managed to do this quite swiftly with the 200 kilowatt reset motor. I'm resetting the computer and now we're driving in the opposite direction on the A20 highway, essentially toward Berlin. and will aim to average around 160 kilometers per hour over the next 20 kilometers to determine the average consumption using the onboard computer with you here. Just as key as design, frontal area, or drag coefficient, I'd say, is travel comfort, right, Stefan?
Yes, that's very important.
And there, of course, we've created a medium for over 5 years now. What it ensures is absolute transparency between the individual vehicles. It is now fully certified. It is now thoroughly verified. It has been calibrated by the German calibration service and has also recently been submitted to the patent office. And that's simply Stefan's popometer. And naturally, we're eager to take a listen and check out how it's performing today.
It's always insane. It keeps pushing the boundaries more and more. It's crazy, honestly. Yeah, but what?
Hold on a second. We also have to convince Diesel Dieter, nope. And petrol heads to switch to electric cars. You'll definitely need a popometer. Here you go.
Yes, good. With the seats on, yes, it doesn't actually have what I already mentioned in the review. They are closer and more comfortable. We're definitely familiar with this from the group, from Volvo, and also from the previous cushion models. Everything's great. I can adjust the seat in all directions electrically. That feels very comfortable to me, and I also like... suspension. I actually like the suspension quite a lot as well because it doesn't sway much, it stays nicely flat on the road, even over bumps and such. That's very good, truly pleasant and smooth to drive along on.
Yes, I can only agree with that. Polestar has truly achieved a perfect mix of taut comfort, there's very little pitching and rolling, and with a wheelbase of 2.99 meters. It also offers great long-distance composure, meaning not every bump, groove, or rise you encounter on German highways immediately jolts your back or disrupts the smoothness of the ride. Pounding. The seats have always been top-notch in Polestar. We're familiar with these seat designs, partly from Volvo, for example, and they are thoughtfully firm yet comfortably cushioned, making them ideal for long drives. They also offer maximum support for our bodies, even on extended journeys, ensuring comfort throughout. In addition, in the Polestar, depending on the trim level in the 4-cylinder model, you can optionally get seat heating, seat ventilation, and seat massage, which is also a fantastic feature. So on those long trips, I just took the opportunity to enjoy a little massage, always staying relaxed, fresh, and cheerful behind the wheel for you, making the journey even more comfortable and truly enjoyable along the way. So from that, I can only recommend you try it out yourself. Polestar is pretty widespread in bigger cities now, so you can easily take a test drive there, or Volvo dealerships also offer Polestar options as part of their lineup, where you can try the car yourself, as things like travel, comfort, and suspension really need to be experienced personally.
Yes, exactly. People can always talk about it, sure, but when you're actually in the car driving it yourself, you can definitely get a much better impression.
We traveled a total of 20.6 kilometers, maintaining an average speed of 160 kilometers per hour on the speedometer. 157.6 is shown here as the average speed in the onboard computer, and the energy consumption is currently calculated at 32.2 kilowatt hours for each 100 kilometers driven. Yes, I would say you compare these values here with the Polestar 4, unfortunately not using the adaptive cruise control, but with my loose foot on the accelerator, so maybe not quite 100% as usually with the other tested vehicles. But then the deviations are really just nuances. And I'm curious, what do you think about the Polestar 4? Let's go ahead and discuss that in the comments. Now here's the table. Yeah, look, 208 kilometers per hour.
Something must still be off there though, if it's listed at 180, right?
Well, who knows? Maybe Polestar actually went ahead and upgraded it, right?
That would be cool, just turning up the limiter a little. Yeah.
Or it could always do 200 kilometers per hour, the database was wrong, right?
That could very well be.
So from that perspective, it is what it is, and that's why it's good that we're testing and trying it out for you, so you don't end up with incorrect data from some unreliable source. takes over. Yes, we've now entered a charging station as the destination to allow the Polestar the opportunity to prepare for our upcoming charging stop. We want to do the charging check with you, going from 10 to 80% state of charge to see if it actually stays under 30 minutes or how quickly it performs during today's charging session, and whether it meets or even exceeds our expectations in terms of speed and efficiency. That's always essential to see how it truly measures up against the manufacturer's official specs and their stated claims. Yes, Stefan, there's quite a bit of traffic here. We've still got around 37 kilometers left to go before we reach the fast charging station. But the Pulse is doing fine, except look here, no matter how I press, it's still not working. Pilot assist enhanced. Now I need to press the brake a bit harder. Yeah, I find it a bit unfortunate, to be honest, somehow, you know, really.
Yeah, Mr. News.
Probably just need to turn it off, shut it down entirely first and unlock it again. And then it works after that. But that can't be the point of the exercise. I can't do that.
You don't want to feel dictated to just because you're using the thing.
Speaking of which, Stefan, what we need to talk about again is the rear view mirror. Take a look in the rear view mirror, please. That's been bothering me the whole time. Somehow everything isn't quite sharp in my eyes. Or maybe I need glasses. I'm not entirely sure. Just now, look, when I slightly speed up again, it gets blurry. So an analog mirror is actually pretty valuable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it all feels a bit crooked somehow, don't you think? Like slightly off? I'm honestly not a huge fan of it either, you know.
In the end, we really don't have another choice because when you film backward, we don't have a rear window here in the Polestar 4. We've already shown that to you in the review with the driving report.
You made it all happen.
Really looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Please drop a comment in this video and let me know if you're without a rear window like here, or if you're team rear window. I'm curious to know if you're classic and conservative, or if you say, nah, I'll just look through the rear window. I honestly don't give a damn. And the few times I look in the rearview mirror, I do it all the time, but maybe some only do it occasionally. I don't really care about that either. Yeah, team rearview mirror could totally run parallel, like team rear window or even team digital rearview mirror, you know? It's just how it is, and honestly, it's pretty straightforward either way. Somehow it all feels a bit too modern sometimes, doesn't it?
A bit too much, yeah.
Yes, just now there was a notification on the display that clearly indicated it has also started preconditioning the battery right now. Of course, for that, the car needs to know when we want to charge. It knows that because we've input a charging station as the destination. So the circle closes, huh? And then the 200 kilowatts should definitely show up on the display later, don't you think? What's your take?
That sucks. I expected it today.
I'm telling you, it's really fun to zip around in the Polestar 4 at 208 kilometers per hour. It's an absolute blast.
Right, yeah.
So I think driving fast in an electric car is much more fun than in a combustion engine car, right? What do you think? Because you don't have that annoying engine sound always there, no whining or fuss. And the high RPM, it's also beautifully quiet. Just a bit of wind noise. Beautiful sound coming from the Harman Kardon audio setup, and the rest is smoothly managed by the electric motor. Exactly, the consumption has increased a bit. Now we're at 40.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. Then he's really guzzling the juice now that we're driving 208 the whole time. Right, we're here to test the acceleration together with you. The Draghi is up and running with GPS, and with 22% battery remaining, we're now accelerating from 80 kilometers per hour onwards. Let's see how it performs. We're already at 150. Even with the low battery level, it feels like 200. Kilowatts of the electric motor on the rear axle delivering 343 Newton meters. Maybe it's getting a bit more sluggish up top now, but it still smoothly approaches 190. We're also taking a nice long right-hand curve. That reminds us a bit of Formula One, right? Kind of gives you a bit of a Silverstone vibe, doesn't it, Stefan? We're getting close to 200, so heading towards his top speed, and he's smoothly climbing up to 205 kilometers per hour now, effortlessly and with ease. And Stefan, let's take a moment now to share with you the values of the Polestar 4 that we've just measured using the GPS.
Yeah, so in terms of acceleration, 80 to 120 in 4.98, 100 to 160 in 12.26, 100 to 180 in 20.65, and 100 to 200 in 35.45 seconds.
Yeah, that's definitely a solid figure. Sure, we're not dealing with a high-performance variant here with the corner-driven version, but it still manages to deliver some pretty impressive numbers in the end, which is noteworthy. There's definitely the dual motor with a performance package, and perhaps someday even a full-on performance model. Yeah, I would certainly dare to add some pulse. And that's probably where the songs will be sung, aiming to touch the performers' hearts. But for everyday life, I have to say it's sufficient, right? If you don't really need all-wheel drive, the single motor on the rear axle should be perfectly sufficient, don't you think?
I agree, it's perfectly enough for daily use, yeah.
But for us Permanent 10 performance enthusiasts, of course, it's always better to have the motor close as well. We've arrived at Ioni at the Demina Land rest stop, and of course we want to get the maximum power here too, always with Ioni. Now let's plug into charger number 4 and carefully reverse up to the charging station. The whole thing is also supported by a 360-degree camera system, which is always quite nice and makes the entire process so much smoother and hassle-free. It's a real game changer for precision and convenience. Or Stefan? The resolution is pretty decent actually. Bars pop up here, guiding you to approach and align the car properly and with ease. The cable is a bit in the way here, but he handles it well. Yes, we arrived with a 10% state of charge. The battery is, I believe, perfectly preconditioned, so we should now be able to achieve and record the maximum charging power of 200 kilowatts at its peak at the station. 10% is also indicated by the charging station, and it's gradually but steadily building up. The corresponding charging peak of its 400-volt battery pack, which provides 94 kilowatt hours of usable capacity. Yes, you always ask me, hey Ollie, how do you charge? And at the stations, we usually charge for 3 kilometers.
So, how's it done?
We've been doing this for over 5 years with InCharge. InCharge can be found in your web browser or as an app, where you have the opportunity to collect free kilometers through online purchases and affiliate links, so essentially reducing your charging expenses. You have the opportunity to help the community by providing ratings for such charging stations accordingly, and you have challenges where you can earn free kilometers again by participating in them. It's just so much fun, and overall it has led to us already charging more than 50,000 kilometers for free in the past 5 years, which is pretty incredible. And that's a pretty nice bonus, right?
Certainly, yes.
The entire system is connected to the charging card, allowing us to simply hold it up to the charging station. If we have included free kilometers, they will be settled with the charging card provider accordingly. And you won't have any costs for your charging. If you're interested, feel free to check out the video description. There's also a link to InCharge included. We're at the charging station and there they are, ready to go. 200 kilowatts, that's supposed to be the maximum charging peak. We always outdo it at Einfach elektrisch with 201. And you can see he's already got 14% in the battery after 2 minutes and has recharged a good 4 kilowatt hours. So it can keep going, because faster is always possible, slower is no longer an option. Or something like that, or so, hence the saying. Pretty nice.
Sweet.
We'll show the car in a moment. First, let's show that there's not much left to do here. Look, 112 kilowatts. At 24% state of charge, that's almost a halving.
Strong start, still strong.
Yeah, now we're at 6 minutes, 15 kilowatt hours recharged. That means I'm kind of skeptical, wondering if it's all going to work out towards the 30-minute mark, right?
Well, let's wait and see. Maybe it'll go back up again.
Yes, we'll just wait and see. The loading phase is also the perfect opportunity to give you a clear external view of Electrode 4 from the outside perspective. We have it in a lovely dark grey metallic. The exterior color here is beautifully designed, and we also have the pixel LED headlights, which can dim for oncoming traffic, paired with the stylish and functional daytime running lights, which is supposed to remind you a bit of Thor's hammer. Yes. Cross-utility vehicle means a mix between a sedan and an SUV, and that's why we have a vehicle height of over 1.5 meters here, along with a corresponding front surface area. You can also catch a glimpse of it in the design. A bit more space in the wheel arches, which gives it a slightly higher stance overall, as you can see. On board, we have the 21-inch wheels as standard, with an optional upgrade to 22-inch rims, fitted with Michelin Pilot Sport EV tires in size 255/45R21 on both the front and rear. Yeah, what I really like is this frameless mirror, Stefan, which is also nicely integrated and elevated on a kind of pedestal right here, giving it a sleek and modern look. That looks really, really stylish. And what also looks stylish is always this label here, indicating exactly which type of vehicle you're dealing with. So if you don't want to reveal that you only have the single engine, you should probably remove the 200 kilowatt back there.
Yes, very helpful indeed.
Yes, otherwise we've got a sleek coupe-style line extending to the rear. Not as high as an SUV, but also not as low as a sedan. I genuinely like it. It looks modern, sporty, and full of vibrant energy. And yes, with the absence of a rear window, it's a refreshingly unique design that really distinguishes it from the typical styles we're used to encountering. Yes, instead of the shark fin, we now have this small bump that contains 2 cameras inside. That's a fresh insight, right?
Yeah, at least it doesn't look as bad as a shark's gaping mouth.
Yeah, and anyone wondering what on earth could possibly be hidden behind this entirely sealed tailgate? Some say it looks similar to a delivery van. You'll notice that the car won't open now even though the key is right here in my pocket. That's another cool feature here with Polestar. I've moved a bit closer now with the key. Now it's fully operational. 526 liters of cargo capacity, Stefan.
That's decent, huh?
Exactly. We have a small double floor here. That means you can also tuck away a bit of stuff underneath if that's something you'd like to do. That's also quite neat, right? Yes. At the front, we have a 15-liter frunk for all those who are interested. And we can fold down the rear seat 60/40, expanding the storage capacity from 526 liters to over 1,500 liters in total. The roof load capacity is 75 kilograms, and there's an optional trailer hitch that can handle up to 1.5 tons at a 12% incline. And that's, I think, pretty impressive, maybe for towing a caravan, a small sports boat, or perhaps even a horse quite comfortably and reliably. Yes, we always keep an eye, of course, on the load capacity and its practical implications.
A kilowatt just went out there.
Yeah, we got to celebrate that a bit, right? 31% state of charge, 9 minutes are up, 21.5 kilowatt hours recharged. But somehow it's not quite in line with the others on the Geely platform. Recall our smart #5, for instance. Starting at 49,000 euros, it features an 800-volt system and a 100 kilowatt-hour battery, delivering over 400 kilowatts of charging power, enabling a rapid charge from 10 to 80%. We actually saw it ourselves near Porto, taking just about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's a whole different world then, isn't it?
And that makes me wonder, Polestar is also built on the Geely platform, just like Volvo, Lotus, Zyka. Why doesn't such a premium product like Polestar, which in my opinion has great design and an excellent market positioning, especially with the Polestar 2, get positioned for larger, more expensive, higher priced models? Because it starts at 61,900 euros, so about 12,000 euros more expensive than the 800-volt entry-level Smart Pro S. Why not also 800-volt?
Well, you can only hope that the 800 volts will come with the next models, making it even more competitive in the market.
Because folks, the difference would be we wouldn't be philosophizing about these 113 kilowatts instead of 112, but we'd be debating whether the 350 kilowatts of this charging station is sufficient for the 800-volt system of the Geely platform. It's a bit of a topsy-turvy world, and I often wonder what the manufacturers are actually aiming for. What's the thought process behind it? How do you perceive it? Are you part of the fast charging team? So the faster, the better. There's this new super Mercedes now, the AMG GT-XX, which is reportedly able to charge at up to 1,000 kilowatts or so. Or do you say, nah, let's keep it slow. I don't mind waiting half an hour. I'll grab something to eat, have a drink, take the dog for a walk, squeeze in a power nap, check my emails and all that stuff, you know? Whatever. I don't really care how fast the car charges. Go ahead and write it in the comments now. 50% after 19 minutes. We've successfully charged a solid 41.2 kilowatt hours. It's charging now at 132 kilowatts. I'm curious to see how long it takes to go from 10 to 80% and whether it stays within the manufacturer's specification. We're going to find that out together with you right now.
The gaze into the distance over the vast landscape.
I'm searching for poppies. They're known to be satisfying and lift your spirits. Yeah, hey guys, I just don't get it. We've been standing here for 31 minutes once more, topped up 66. Kilowatt hours, he's dawdling around at 112 kilowatts, currently at 73%. We're aiming to reach 1,080 in less than half an hour, but it's already gone over 30 minutes. And I gotta be honest with you, no joke, I really understand diesel Dieter, and I totally get where combustion engine burble is coming from. Petrol burble, you know what I mean? Petrol burble, you know? And the Prosecco folks.
Prosecco burble, huh?
Petra and everyone who says, hey, you know what? I'm honestly not that interested in electric mobility. Why? Because you're just leisurely wasting half an hour of precious lifetime, whereas at that gas station over there, you'd probably have filled up 100 liters in just 5 minutes. Take a look at Total Energies, for example. I totally understand where people are coming from. It means we, as electric car enthusiasts, willingly invest our valuable time so we can fully enjoy driving an incredible electric vehicle. At the very least, I hope it stays within the stated specifications. Sure, it's probably a user error again, I don't know. In any case, we're at 32 minutes, 68 kilowatt hours, have charged 75% and still have the remaining 5% left. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Do you have to just accept all of this, take it in stride, and maybe use it as an opportunity for a longer break and simply make the most of it? Take a power nap? Enjoy the beautiful sun here? Who knows, maybe make a few business calls, check your emails. You're always busy with something, but I'd rather keep driving.
Me too, that's exactly what I've been thinking all along.
Isn't it lovely waiting here in the sun, isn't it?
Sun, yes, but carriage, no.
But now without flux, it's built on a Geely platform, and that platform supports 800 volts. Geely has already proven that with the Smart, you can charge the same size battery from 10 to 80% in 15 minutes. Why do they give the Polestar 400 volts? Now, I actually think that's really a shame because it's actually a cool car. And some people say, nah, don't feel like it, don't want to wait around that long. Yes, I would also prefer to be quicker and not wait so long, and I would also love to have a Polestar 4 with 800 volt technology. Share in the comments, do you prefer 400 volts, 800 volts, or does it not matter to you? Or am I perhaps just excessively influenced by the sun right now? The sun's really nice, right? We could actually charge for another half hour, couldn't we?
True, that
was definitely my mistake just now. 35 minutes, 79%, because I had the car set to 80% active for the shoot. I had preset it to 80% in advance for the filming. Sorry, I usually always set it to 100, so we have the 80% as well. But whether it's 35 minutes or 36 minutes, it doesn't really make a big difference in the end. I really don't mean it in a bad way. I'm saying this for you, well, for us customers, because we just want to charge quickly and we want to push electric mobility forward. I'd be really pleased if Polestar made that adjustment downward too. Maybe it was also an application error on our part, or perhaps it's related to the temperature and the travel speed we were driving at. So again, the car is awesome, the car is fun, it's a great car. I just wish I could charge faster. That's the only point. Not that anything here is missing, misunderstood, or misinterpreted. Let's get in, continue driving, and just take a moment to calm ourselves down. Then it's gone anyway. Let's focus on the beautiful things in life and enjoy the performance once again. We're planning to swiftly accelerate out of the driveway right now and once again thoroughly test the vehicle's overall responsiveness. Stefan has activated DOT, the GPS meter, and we're accelerating smoothly out from 38 kilometers per hour, aiming straight for top speed at 80% state of charge, and the car is performing absolutely brilliantly here, no issues at all. Now accelerating to 180 kilometers per hour, moving up towards 190. We're just about to hit 200 kilometers per hour again. There he goes easily over it, and he should then actually reach his end again at 207, 208 kilometers per hour. We'll then find Stefan new values that he'll now gladly present to you all.
Alright, so we've got from 60 to 100 in 3.34, 80 to 124.26, 100 to 169.78, from 100 to 180 in 50.5, and from 100 to 200 in 24.09.
I think a Taycan Turbo S manages that in about 7 seconds, but then again it costs about 4 times as much.
You'll have to dig a bit deeper into your pocket for that.
All jokes aside, these are solid figures. You can effortlessly overtake someone on a country road. You can comfortably cruise along with traffic on the highway or even go faster than the flow of traffic. This is absolutely fantastic. I love the rear engine and its 200 kilowatts of power. 343 nanometers isn't all that much, huh? He could have done a bit more there.
A little more punch would really suit him well, yes.
Just like the 450 Plus and the EQS, right? It's got about 300 horsepower, but 545 Newton meters, yeah? So adding an extra 200 Newton meters of torque could have really given the Performant that extra punch, don't you think? But you can probably fix all that with software nowadays, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think a single engine RWD with a large battery, that's really the perfect match for the Polestar 4. That's exactly how I'd go for it too. You know, with the display, leather seats, ventilation, heating. All right, the pilot, he just needs to be a bit more pilot-like. We can test that out now. Pilot assistant not available. Take a look right there, you see?
Yeah, that's pretty strange.
So it's got to be just one thing. A CC is unavailable. What's going on here, Polestar guy? Any idea what's up? We're testing this here. Is it because of the speed? I'm really not sure.
Well, I don't know. It already failed at 12:020 earlier.
So now it should definitely work, shouldn't it? 130? Yes, it's working again. Do you believe it was actually because you had to lock the car? Look, up to 150.
Thank God 150 yet though.
Cancelled. What's going on here now?
I honestly don't know.
The assistant is here.
It's all somewhat mysterious, really.
I'll set it to 135. It was somehow like that before, where it only went up to 135, effectively available. So, slowly but surely, let's move on to the overall conclusion with the Polestar 4 now. Overall verdict, yes. Also from the review and color report, as we've already told you, we really like the design. The rear window, or lack thereof, is really a matter of taste. But also the material mix in the interior, the layout, head-up display, driver information display, it's all really great. Combined with the outstanding travel comfort and seats, it's truly excellent. The Polestar 4's rear offers plenty of generous space, making it perfect for longer journeys. We already covered that in detail in the review. Today we're adding the consumption figures. At 100 kilometers per hour, it performed quite well, but at 120, 140, and even 160 kilometers per hour. Then the exponential growth already began to rise significantly, and that's partly due to the cross-utility tree shape, perhaps, which plays a noticeable role here. Yes, in the end, it's always relative, what's a lot, what's a little, because when we compare the kilowatt-hour ratio to combustion engines, it's still very, very efficient. Whether it meets your range needs with the 94 kilowatt-hour net capacity battery and at the same time, perhaps the recharging speed. If you're planning long trips, you'll of course need to define that yourselves. Everyone is unique in their preferences. I believe it's a highly appealing overall package for many, starting from 61,900 euros. You should definitely take the opportunity to experience the Polestar 4 firsthand by arranging a test drive at one of the many Polestar or Volvo dealerships and form your own personal impression of it. Because I think Polestar is kind of a pleasantly different brand that somehow captures this unique vibe. This quality and that Volvo flair are elevated to an entirely new level with their electric car approach. That's Nordic, that's cool, and that's hip. And personally, I could really imagine myself driving something like a Polestar 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Someday, perhaps even owning one myself. Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below. How do you view the Polestar 4? What's your take on it? Let's definitely exchange our thoughts about it. And with that, we've also arrived at the conclusion of today's video about the Polestar 4. And the consumption test, including a charging check. I certainly hope you enjoyed the video. Thumbs up if you liked it. Please feel free to check if you're already part of the einfach elektrisch community. We'd be thrilled if you supported us with your subscription. It's free for you, but a huge help for us to grow. And then you won't miss out on the newest videos about electromobility in the future. I sincerely want to thank you for watching and tuning in. Stay healthy and see you soon. Your Ollie. You know, I think these frameless trapezoidal mirrors are truly stylish, sleek, and incredibly eye-catching to look at.
It's cool, it's different. Actually, a really cool design.
Whether it's actually aerodynamically efficient or not, you don't know that either. Dear God, but visually, look, when you walk around here like this, it's got something. Well, somehow it does. Otherwise, you always have Aston Martins or Lamborghinis or Ferraris with such uniquely designed exterior mirrors. So I gotta say, sleek, sleek, sleek Polestar.